percent fair value gap if you were seeing it in eight o'clock hour. So that would be before 9:30 opening
Well, that's what I
Eastern
meant.
time.
9:30. I'm sorry. Not from
Okay,
nine
okay.
thirty to 10.
Um, my selection for fair value gaps are directly linked to gradient levels based on inefficiencies and ranges that I've defined I've been teaching this year. Also, I already have a predetermined expectation on what I want to see price action do. In other words, I have a draw on liquidity, I have a narrative I think it may try to implement framing that first hour of trading. And then I look for that displacement in that fair value gap. So it's not just simply there's a gap there. It's the first one that happened. That's not enough for me. I'm actually teaching the whole process of what I did was when I discovered this element of first presentation, this whole process of which one do I use and how do I define that and what rules and parameters, how did that morph into what I use today? When I first saw the concept, it was simply pick the first one. If you do, you'll see many trades form, but sometimes you won't get a signal for others. And that'll be a source of frustration for you, like it was for me, but you'll grow through that. By learning to anticipate what you think the market's going to do, then looking for it to displace in that narrative, in that direction, supporting that trade idea, that's what I use it for. So it's the first presented fair value gap that fits the narrative and the criteria I'm looking for within my model. That's the technical term and terminology, and it's the definition you're going to see in the book. So you got it for free here. I gave it right to you, but that's what I'm doing. I'm taking everything and placing them in the right place at the right time, and that's why I'm using the fair value gaps that I say is first presented, and that's why they're working the way they do. There's more criteria than just simply it's first appeared.
Okay, so bias first, and then it's the next fair value gap after the bias is formed. Not
Not so much
necessarily a sweep.
bias. Not
Okay.
the narrative is not bias.
Okay.
Narrative is how a price delivery will unfold. It could, in other words, if you think it's going to go higher, it may go down and take out a short-term low before it does that. It may trade down into a discount fair value gap before going higher. If I'm bullish, I'm looking for a criteria that allows for either the first visit to fair value gap to perform as an inversion fair value gap. So think I'm bullish. If I see the first presented fair value gap with displacement, that's going to be a SIBI. In other words, it's a down closed candle. In my mind already, it's fitting criteria that this is going to act as an inversion fair value gap. So now I'm going to wait for it to trade above it, come back down, validate that inversion fair value gap, keep price out of the lower half of it. That means I'm on side. Order flow is signaling to me that I am bullish. I can go long at consequent encroachment or up to its high, anywhere in there. But if it spikes a candlestick wick down in there, I won't be fearful of not taking that trade once it validates it. And once it comes back down, it can do that. And it's completely permissible as long as the bodies stay out of it. And I'll just keep parlaying and building the position up as long as I have the equity to do so. And then I'll just ride it up to whatever the draw is on liquidity. So it's not just simply here's the first gap that forms. It's the first gap that forms within the context of the expectation I hold over price action, which is narrative. The bias, I'm actually trading outside of bias because I'm trading only in the first hour trading. I don't need a bias. Like I have zero bias lately because I don't trust higher time frame bias because we're in this larger long-term consolidation. So by removing the necessity for knowing bias, I'm just looking for what's the current narrative right now, what are they going to run for, who are they going to hurt right now, and that's what I'm doing. When we move to a trending environment again, then I'll go back to doing other things and I'll teach you now I'm applying this. So I'm always teaching over real live market conditions. I'm not cherry picking, looking at hindsight. So it gives you that ebb and flow that you're going to have to work within as a trader using these concepts. So that way you're not going to be fearful of whatever's going on, whatever happens. And right now I'm learning that my concepts still work really, really well in these difficult market conditions. It just means that I have to just dial back my frequency and intensity.
Okay. Okay. That answers a lot. I think I was looking at it because I was looking at the first presented fair value gap as far as like if it's bullish or bearish, then that's kind of what I'm looking for as far as my bias moving into that session. So I have to just change the way I'm looking at that and come up with a narrative and use that to form my narrative and how I form my trade. I think that's what I'm hearing you say. And then I go back and listen to this space and
Yes,
really, yeah.
sir. Yes, sir, Jack Brown. You'll want to do that.